What's up, you beautiful binge watchers? Welcome to What to Watch, where we sort the cinematic gold from the straight up landfill. It's December, and honestly, the studios are dropping releases like they're trying to clear their hard drives before the new year. We've got massive sequels, a giant snake, and enough twee to choke a high society ghost. Is it a good month? Let's just say my eyeballs are vibrating with anticipation and maybe a little fear. Kicking things off on December 4th, we're strapping in for some serious Western drama with a very dramatic title, The Abandons, Season 1 riding onto Netflix. This one's set in the 1850s where two powerful matriarchs, one rolling in dough and the other fiercely loyal but broke, are duking it out on the frontier. Think Yellowstone but with bonnets and probably a lot more dirt under the fingernails. It sounds like a show where the dialogue is as sharp as a newly honed axe and the dramatic prairie sunset follows every plot twist. The very next day, December 5th, is when the real chaos begins, starting with Five Nights at Freddy's 2. Seriously, the animatronics are back for round 2 and they're probably crankier than ever after being cooped up in that pizza parlor for so long. The first movie made more money than I do in a decade, despite the critics treating it like a moldy slice of pepperoni. So of course Blumhouse said, give the people what they want, more creepy robots with questionable motivation. If the first movie was a warm-up, this one's going to be a full-on sprint into nightmare fuel. My official advice, watch it with the lights on, maybe hold a fluffy, non-homicidal teddy bear. Also hitting on December 5th is Fackham Hall. Just the name sounds like a posh sneeze. This movie is throwing Downton Abbey into a blender with The Favourite and adding a twist that I assume involves either a scandalous secret or a raw cucumber sandwich. It's all about a new porter who shakes up the snooty Davenport family right when a wedding goes completely sideways. Prepare yourself for drawing rooms, class warfare, and probably at least one character fainting dramatically onto an antique chase lounge. If you ever wanted a period piece that feels like it's subtly mocking itself, this is probably your jam. Speaking of historical drama, on December 5th we're also getting Spartacus House of Ashur Season 1 on Stars. Remember Ashur, the Weasley dude who was always crawling his way to the top? Well, he finally made it. He's gone from slave to owning the very ludus that used to own him. But apparently, Roman politics is even deadlier than a gladiatorial arena, which is saying something. With a fierce gladiatrix named Achilles by his side, they are putting on spectacles to challenge the Roman elite. We're all heading back to Camp Half-Blood on December 10th because Percy Jackson and the Olympians Season 2 is flying onto Disney+. The first season saw our 12-year-old demigod Percy dealing with the fact that his dad is a water god, and oh yeah, Zeus thinks he stole his master lightning bolt. Standard Tuesday, right? Now he and his friends need to restore order to Olympus. I'm assuming the second season will involve more mythological creatures that look suspiciously like school bullies and a lot more witty banter. If you're a fan of fantasy where the fate of the world rests on a kid who still has to pass his math homework, then this is the epic you've been waiting for. Then on December 11th we get Man vs Baby Season 1 on Netflix. The description for this one is a beautiful mess. We last left Trevor Bingley house sitting at a high-tech mansion while battling an inconvenient insect. Now he's moved up to a luxurious London penthouse, but he's got another unlikely, unasked for companion. Given the title, I'm going to take a wild guess and say that companion is in fact a baby. If a man who can't handle a bug is now up against a tiny, non-stop pooping noise machine in a fancy penthouse, this is going to be a perfect storm of comedic disaster. I hope the high-tech mansion has an automated diaper disposal system because Trevor is going to need it. Circle December 12th on your calendars because it's time for a new mystery that's sharper than a tailor's needle. Wake Up Dead Man, a Knives Out mystery on Netflix. Daniel Craig's glorious Southern Fried detective Benoit Blanc is back. We know little about the plot yet, but it's being hyped as his most dangerous case yet. Look, if he's got Blanc's accent, a ridiculous amount of suspects who are already secretly awful people, and a massive labyrinthine house, I'm already sold. Prepare your brain because this is the kind of mystery that will leave you convinced the butler did it until you realize the butler was actually a highly sophisticated parrot. The Wasteland is calling again on December 17th with Fallout Season 2 on Amazon Prime Video. The first season was a spectacular, weirdly funny and violent story of the haves and the have-nots. Now that the gentle denizens of the vault have returned to the irradiated surface, they are realizing the surface is a highly complex, gleefully weird and totally violent universe. Season 2 has a lot to live up to, but if it keeps the same balance of dark comedy and genuinely heart-pounding survival, we're in for a treat. I'm expecting even more mutated creatures, even more darkly hilarious questlines, and a few more answers about what the actual heck happened to the world. Then on December 19th, Avatar Fire and Ash is hitting the screens. James Cameron is dragging us back to Pandora for the third time, this time introducing us to new biomes and the Ash people, a new clan of Na'vi who are not exactly known for their hospitality. We've got new cast members like Michelle Yeoh as human scientist and Una Chaplin as the villainous Na'vi, Varang. The Avatar franchise is a cinematic event. It's less of a movie and more of an all-day commitment to blue people. Having already dominated the box office with the second film, this one is probably going to be a visually stunning 3-hour plus odyssey that makes your home TV look like a potato. Grab the popcorn and prepare to relearn the names of 8 new Na'vi characters. You might be busy with holiday leftovers, but on Christmas Day, December 25th, we've got 2 very different gifts waiting. First up is The Housemaid, a new psychological thriller from Paul Feig based on a novel. Sydney Sweeney plays a struggling woman who takes a job as a housemaid for an incredibly rich couple. Naturally, she finds out her employers are storing a barrel of dark secrets alongside their vintage wine. This is the perfect palate cleanser for Christmas. A nice, tense thriller to remind you that your own family drama is actually quite mild. I'm expecting twists that hit harder than a festive holiday hangover. And for our final offering on Christmas Day, December 25th, get ready to run, because Anaconda is back. This is a cheeky update of the classic 1997 giant snake horror flick that had J-Lo and Ice Cube running for their lives. But here's the twist. The 2025 version is flipping the script and telling it as a full-on comedy while still waving hello to its horror roots. So, instead of a terrifying nightmare, it's going to be a hilarious nightmare. I can only imagine the sheer absurdity of a massive man-eating snake trying to join in on the witty banter. It sounds completely ridiculous, and honestly, that makes it the perfect movie to watch when you're too full of eggnog to process complex emotions. So, there you have it. December is like a bizarre cinematic fruitcake packed with some absolutely huge blockbusters and some truly unique smaller gems. We got the return of giant blue people and a terrifying snake sandwiched between detective mysteries and some serious Wild West drama. It's a whole lot of content, and honestly, it's going to be a challenge just keeping up. Will ancient gods, giant snakes, or Daniel Craig's accent dominate your December?